Good evening. This is Midnight Audiobooks. When you see someone's misfortune or a fierce controversy on social media, is there a cruel part of you, hidden deep inside, that secretly enjoys watching it from a safe place? Today, we bring you Franz Kafka's short story, A Fratricide. A man waiting in ambush on a dark street corner at night, and the man who is to be killed, and another man looking down at the tragedy from his third-floor window. Who exactly is the most insane person in this story? First, please immerse yourself in the world of the story. The murder was proved to have taken place in the following manner. Schmar, the murderer, took up his post about 9 o'clock one bright moonlit night, at the corner where Wese, his victim, always turned from the street where his office was into the street where he lived. The night air was shivering cold, but Schmar was wearing only a thin blue suit. The jacket was even unbuttoned. He felt no cold. Besides, he was moving about all the time. His weapon, half bayonet, half kitchen knife, he kept firmly in his bare grasp. Looked at against the moonlight, the blade flashed sharply. Not satisfied with this, Schmar struck it against the bricks of the pavement till the sparks flew. Regretting this, perhaps, and to repair the damage, he drew the blade like a violin bow across his boot sole. Standing on one leg all the time, leaning forward, he listened simultaneously to the sound of the blade on his boot and to the fateful side street. From a third-floor window close by, Pallas, a private citizen, was watching it all. Why did he just silently look on? The nature of man is unfathomable. With his collar turned up on his heavy dressing gown, shaking his head, he simply looked down. 5 houses further along, facing the other way, Mrs. Wese, with a fox fur over her nightgown, stood at the window, looking out for her husband, who was unusually late today. At last, the bell of Wese's office door rang. It was too loud for a doorbell. The sound went right over the town and up to heaven. And Wese, the night worker, stepped out into the street. He could not be seen from this alley yet, but the bell announced his departure. Soon his peaceful footsteps began to echo on the pavement. Pallas leaned far out. He must not miss anything. Mrs. Wese, reassured by the bell, shut her window with a rattle. But Schmar knelt down and pressed his face and hands against the pavement stones. So far, no other part of him was bare. Where everything else was freezing, Schmar alone was burning. Exactly at the point where the streets divided, Wese stood still. His walking stick stopped him from proceeding into the next alley. It was just a whim that made him stop. The dark blue and gold of the night sky lured him. Unknowing, he gazed at the sky. Unknowing, he lifted his hat and stroked his hair. Nothing moved up there to indicate the imminent future. Everything remained in its senseless, unfathomable place. That Wese walked on is quite natural in itself. But Schmar's knife was waiting for him. "Wese!" Schmar shouted, standing on tiptoe, with his arm raised and the knife pointing sharply downwards. "Wese, Julia is waiting in vain." And he stabbed him right into the neck, then left into the neck, and the third time deep into his belly. When you slit the belly of a water rat, it makes a sound similar to what Wese made then. "Done," Schmar said, and flung the knife, now a bloody guerdon, against the front of the next house. The bliss of murder. The relief, the soaring of the body through the shedding of another's blood. "Wes, you old nightshade, my friend and beer-drinking companion, your blood is seeping away into the dark earth of the street. Why weren't you just a blood-filled sack? Then I could have just stamped on you, and you would have vanished. Not everything comes true. Not all the dreams of happiness bear fruit. Your heavy corpse lies here. Whoever comes, nothing can be done anymore. With your corpse, you are asking a silent question. But what is the point of it?" Pallas, choking with indignation, stood in his double door, which was thrown wide open. "Schmar, Schmar, I saw it all. I missed nothing." Pallas and Schmar looked at each other. Pallas was satisfied. Schmar had not achieved his purpose. Mrs. Wese came running up with the gathering crowd. Her face had aged entirely with terror. Her fur coat spread out. She threw herself on Wese. At that moment, her body under the fur belonged entirely to her husband, and the crowd looked at the fur coat covering the couple, like the grass of a grave. Schmar, fighting down his last nausea, pressed his mouth against the shoulder of the policeman, who was stepping out nimbly with him. What did you think? Schmar, the murderer who lay in wait and took a life. However, in this story, the most eerie and terrifying character is Pallas, the bystander who silently looked down upon everything from his third-floor window. Pallas could have shouted a warning to save Wese, but from a safe high place, he consumed the tragedy of another's life being unreasonably destroyed, as if he were watching a movie. And after the tragedy ended, he stepped forward with the face of a righteous witness, declaring, "I saw it all." Is this figure of Pallas not exactly the reflection of us today? Every day we look down at the world from the safe third-floor window, called a smartphone. Someone's failure, a celebrity scandal, or a fierce controversy on the internet. We watch them from a safe distance, and sometimes throw stones with the face of a hero of justice. Over 100 years ago, Kafka brilliantly depicted this bystander's entertainment, which we unconsciously engage in through the figure of this eerie man. Actually, there are other terrifying ways to interpret this story besides Pallas's madness. One is the fundamental human jealousy indicated by the title, a fratricide. Like Cain and Abel in the Old Testament, humans harbor the deepest murderous intent not towards distant strangers, but towards those right next to them, living a different kind of happiness. Another is the abnormal hatred towards innocent happiness, the ordinary righteous belief of Wese, who thought effort will be rewarded, and my wife is waiting at home, was an unforgivable violence to Schmar, who lived in an absurd world. Jealousy, hatred of happiness, and the consumption of others' misfortune. All the dark emotions hidden within the human heart are packed into this short story. If you ever witness a tragedy on a street corner, will you raise your voice, or will you continue to silently look down from your third-floor window? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments.